We're looking at trade, and I want to just talk about a few of the reasons why the White House has its position on wanting to remove trade deficits. So, a trade deficit here is when a country is importing more goods than it's exporting. In other words, we're buying a lot of goods from other countries, especially China and Mexico, and we're exporting, we're making, we don't produce as much in America anymore. We're exporting goods less to other countries. So that gap between how much the many goods we buy from China and Mexico and the fewer number of goods that we export, that gap is called a trade deficit. So in the Trump administration, that's a negative, that's an evil. That means that other people are doing more stuff than we're doing. So we're losing jobs because of that. We're losing manufacturing. So the basic philosophy that's come from this White House is that these brown things here, these lines I'm using to indicate tariffs. So they want to negotiate trade, but especially to set trade barriers. So if someone over here in Europe, they want to do business in America, they're going to first hit a tariff. So they're going to come in with goods that they've made at a certain price. So they've made these goods and it costs them a certain amount, but now it's going to cost them more because a tariff is you have to pay extra money to bring that good into our country. We're making you pay this tariff. So now you have to charge more for that. Okay? And so we do that to protect our industries here. Okay? Because maybe they're making a doll over here. They're making a doll. And, they make it pretty inexpensively. But then we charge this tariff. So it's cheaper for someone in America to buy an American-made doll. Okay, that's what the tariff does. So these two reasons given for tariffs, either protectionist or revenue, that's a protectionist tariff. We're charging money for them to bring their goods in here because we're trying to protect our doll makers, the people that are manufacturing this thing in America. We want to protect them. That's protectionist. A revenue tariff, though, is like this 20% tariff. So I've got a line, this brown line between Mexico and the U.S., and we've talked about, the Trump administration has talked about a 20% tariff. Okay, you want to bring avocados, into America? Great. We're going to charge you 20% at the border. There's going to be a tax. And that's a revenue tax. Why? Because we want to build a wall. We want to build a big wall here. And so to build this wall, we're going to pay for it by charging a tariff of 20% on everything. You make a broom, you want to bring it into America? Great, we're going to charge 20%. And so all the goods that come, because after NAFTA, the North American Free Trade Agreement, notice free trade. That means there's no tariffs, that Canada could sell things into the U.S. and Mexico could sell things into the U.S. And because the North American Free Trade Agreement said there should be free trade, that means there shouldn't be tariffs. A free trade, that's an FT there. I've kind of covered it up. But the North American Free Trade Agreement, Trump has said, is the worst deal ever because it's allowed Mexico to sell a bunch of things in America that it doesn't have to pay any tariffs on, and therefore they undercut. They can make it cheaper in Mexico, so they take away businesses and jobs from us. So we want to put up this either a protectionist tariff or a revenue generating tariff, in this case, to build the wall. So that's the Trump administration's argument. Now, the main arguments against that, because that would seem to make some sense, both of those, getting revenue by charging tariffs to Mexico or by protectionists protecting our industries, those make sense. But many experts say that free trade is better. First of all, there's an animosity that's developed between Mexico and the U.S. because of what Trump's been saying. So bad relations, trade wars can often lead to real wars. So free trade, people engage in voluntarily because it's free. We don't have to buy the brooms that Mexico sends up here. We pay money for them, and they make them. So voluntary exchange keeps people generally happier. People can specialize because when you're trading, you can trade the things that you make most efficiently in exchange for the things that the other country can make more efficiently. So each person is benefited in a trade. That's called comparative advantage. Absolute advantage is if a country can make the most of something, they have an absolute advantage, and there's no reason for them to negotiate with anybody. They can just sell it for what they want to, get people mad. How come you're charging so much for that? Because they make the most of them. They can do what they want, kind of. Whereas comparative advantage is always ends up helping both countries. That if a thing can be made more efficiently in one country and something else made more efficiently in another country, then by trading those things, each country is increasing its efficiency. So free trade people say that the Trump way here is going to lead to problems. It's going to upset the balance. They don't think that it's going to solve all the problems of saving American jobs and getting all this money for the wall. Because, for instance, once we charge 20% on everything, guess what's going to happen? The price of avocado is going to go up for everybody in America. So we're going to end up paying that more money. So in a sense, while we're saying Mexico's paying it because we're charging this tariff, they're going to have to charge more or go out of business. So some people have said that what Trump's going to do is going to cause a huge problem in the Mexican economy. And it could, unless Mexicans charge more for their goods and then we end up paying. So either way, it's going to hurt us by having goods cost a lot more, or it's going to hurt them because that's going to put some of them out of business. So, it could be bad either way. So again, the other side of the Trump view is to go with free trade. What free trade people would say, the way to get advantages is not by erecting these barriers, but look at the actual factors of production. And all economic classes always talk about these factors of production. Free trade people would say, improve those, make better technology. That's the way to increase jobs and the way to be able to sell products at a good price. Increase labor, give your people more education, teach them how to use more machines, get the cutting edge machines so you can make things more efficiently, use technology, the latest technology, improve the factors of production. So the two sides are, again, the White House, just have these bilateral negotiations between two countries, but let them know we're going to put these tariffs in here, versus let there be free trade and just improve things in your own country to make things more efficient. So those are the kind of two sides in this trade war here.